Hey everybody, welcome to the second presentation on our call answering service. As I mentioned before, if you tuned into the first presentation, this is going to take a little bit deeper dive into our service and how it works. Again, I'm James Thurgood, I'm the Director of Communications here, and excited to be here and talk a little more about our service. So what I want to talk about today is really go over some of the questions or things that get brought up when a facility owner takes that next step and is ready to sign up for the service or has just signed up for the service. These are some of the questions that we get asked and the things that we need to go over. So hopefully it's beneficial for you. The very first question that we always get when someone's ready to sign up is, how do I get my phone calls from my facility to you guys? And you know, there's three ways, but the first and probably most popular that most of our clients do is just general call forwarding. So you would contact your local provider, whoever has the phone number for your facility, ask to set up call forwarding to a number that we would give you, and then whenever someone dials that number, it just forwards straight to us. So that's how most of our clients are set up, but there are two other ways. Maybe you're building a new facility, or you're just taking over a facility and you want a brand new phone number. We can actually acquire a local phone number for you, and as long as you are using our answering service, we don't charge extra for that. So it's just part of the service. So we can acquire a good local number. We always look for numbers that end in 2222 or 777, whatever kind of you prefer. We see what the best number is out there, and we can grab that for you, and then we can just be the provider and you don't have to pay extra. The third way is kind of similar to that. It's along those lines. Maybe you do have a number already, say it's with Verizon Wireless, and you're just going to send the calls to us. We can actually take that number from Verizon and bring it into our system, where we then become the provider. So that's called porting. So you port the number away from Verizon to us. It's a good way to save some a few dollars every month. You don't have to pay Verizon anymore. Like I said, as long as you're using our answering service, we just throw that in there for free. So you can kind of get rid of your phone bill, and then we just kind of host the number for you. With that, and with if we get you a new phone number, you still own it. You'll always have it. So if you ever need to take it back and you want to go back to Verizon, that's no problem at all. You can always take it back. It's always yours. You don't lose control. So those are the three main ways that we receive your calls. All of them are really easy. We do most of the work for you. So you don't have to worry. It's really simple. All those things happen pretty quickly. So it's really easy way to get your calls over to our agents. The next thing that I wanted to mention that we've kind of talked about in the first presentation was rentals. How does that work? What does it look like? We're going to listen to a couple calls so you'll be able to hear kind of how the agents do it. But essentially our goal is to do everything from A to Z so that the tenant can move in tonight if they want. So we've talked about the note page that we create with you for our guys. Whatever your move-in requirements are, bring your own lock, or maybe you provide the lock for them. Whatever your requirements are, we just use those notes to do the rental for you. So we receive a call, we'll use our software to see what you have available, how much you're charging for the units. We will help the customer get into the right size if they're not sure what they need, which most of them don't. And then we'll enter in all their information into the system. We'll help them sign the lease agreement. We'll take payment, and then again give them all the information that they need so that they can just move right in. And we'll listen to bits and pieces of that so you can hear. But this is really important just because as of today, I still don't know of another service that will actually complete a rental for you. So there are some services that will take like a reservation and send it to you, and then you can kind of go through it and finish everything, but that still takes some work on your end. So we'll actually complete the rental, and then we'll send you an email or a text or whatever you prefer and say, hey, so-and-so rented unit number 1, just so you know. You don't need to do anything if you don't want, but we'll just keep you updated. So that's one of the main things that separates our service from other call centers or answering services. The other thing another thing I wanted to talk about was our 24/7 pay by phone system that also we mentioned in the first presentation. So like I said, it allows customers to call in and make a payment over the phone without having to talk to anybody if they don't want to. Obviously, they can always press the option to speak to a live person, but if someone calls in the middle of the night and wants to make a payment, they can do that. So how does that work? That's one of the questions that we get, is how it works. So inside your software, each tenant has their own account page, right? And in the account page, they have phone numbers. So whether it's their cell phone number or their home phone number, that's how the pay by phone system recognizes who's calling. So the easiest way is if someone calls in from the phone number that's on their account, the system will automatically recognize that, and it will say, look, I recognize this phone number, you have a $50 balance, would you like to pay that right now? Let's say they call in from a different phone number, they call in from a number that's not listed on their account. The system actually says, we don't recognize this phone number, please type in the number that's associated with your account. So they can type in their cell phone number, whatever it is within the software, they type it in, and then it will recognize them and say, you have a $50 balance, you want to pay. The next step that makes it really easy is some customers are comfortable saving their credit card information on file, but they don't necessarily want to be set up for auto pay. In those cases, if they have a credit card saved on file, the system will recognize that as well and will say, would you like to use your card ending in 1234 to make this payment? If they don't want to use that card, or if they don't have a card saved on file, it will just say, please enter in your credit card information. And then they type all of it in on their phone, makes a payment, and that's it. And so it's really a seamless way. It's really cool. One thing I meant to mention at the start is when they do get into the pay by phone system, normally how it works is they'll call in, they'll hear a voice clip that says, thank you for calling ABC Storage. To make a payment, please press 1. So if they press 1, it goes into that system, and the system actually says, thank you for calling ABC Storage Payment Service. So they hear the facility name twice, so they know they're in the right place. And it actually won't even recognize the phone number if someone happens to call from a different facility. It's only the phone numbers in your facility software. So that's kind of how that works. A lot of people use it, and a lot of people really love it. So we're really excited. We've had it for, I think a little over a year now, and we've had really good feedback from that. So that's a really cool feature, and that's kind of how it works. We get a lot of questions about how it actually works. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was how we can kind of help with your access control or your gate access. So it's especially helpful if you're using our access control system. It makes it the easiest, but even if you're not, even if you're just using some type of gate system that is integrated with our software, it allows us to again use the software to help anybody that's having gate issues. So maybe they forgot their gate code. You'd be surprised how often that happens. We can just verify the customer and help them with the gate code. But for things like lockouts, maybe you have it set up so that if someone is 30 days late, their gate code gets put on pause, it gets locked out so they can't access the facility until they pay. One way that it's really nice for us is if someone's locked out, they can call in, we can make a payment for them. As soon as they're paid up, it'll make the gate code active again, and they can get right in. So that happens all the time. It's really helpful. Maybe if You want us to delete the gate code every time someone moves out. That way, as soon as they're done and they move out, we take their code out of the system and it updates up right away, and then they can't get back in. Those are just a couple examples of how that works, but essentially we just use the software to help out with any of those gate issues and help people with their codes. I'm going to mention just a couple more things before we dive into the calls. So hopefully you joined the tenant protection program presentation earlier, but our agents are really good at selling those plans. We can kind of be as, pushy is the wrong word, but we can be as forward as you want or don't want. We do have a handful of owners that don't want us to be very forward with it. They just want us to let the agent or the tenants know that it's there, that it's an option. We're happy to do that as well. But we can also be really good at selling those plans as well, and kind of putting some more money in your pocket, taking some liability off of you, and all the things that you heard from the previous presentation. So our agents are really good at that. We sell them every day. So that's just another way that our services work together to help you as the facility owner. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was just customer service, and hopefully you'll kind of get an idea of this as we listen to two of these calls. And we've mentioned this before in our first presentation, but our goal is to provide really good customer service. Like we mentioned, most of the phone calls we get are not from people wanting to rent. There are some, and we're good at doing that, but most of the phone calls are your current tenants, your current customers, and we want to treat them well. And so we really harp on customer service here, and hopefully you'll hear that we don't sound like robots. We say that a lot, but it's true, because a lot of services kind of people read off of a strict script, and we don't want to do that. We have all the information we need, but we're just trying to have a conversation with the person on the other end of the line and help them with whatever it is that they called in about. So we're going to dive in, listen to some clips from a couple calls. This first call is our agent Greg, and you might have heard his voice on the first presentation. It's the same call, but anyways, at this point in the call, Greg has figured out that they want, the customer said that they want a small unit. And so we'll go ahead and play this clip just so you can get an idea of what it sounds like once Greg's gotten to the point where they say, I want, your smallest unit or a small unit.
So our smallest units right now that we have available are either a 5x10 for $45 a month or a 10x10 for $65 a month.
$45 a month?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's how big, you say?
5x10.
A 5 foot by 10 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what do you need as far as to get one?
Okay. So we actually run our facility remotely, so everything is set up either over the phone or you could rent it through our website. And you would just need to be able to pay by card and then have access to the internet so you can sign the lease.
Okay. All right.
What I like about that clip is Greg was able to give pricing up front, and then also kind of set the expectation of what the phone call is going to look like, or what the customer needs to do to secure that rental. It's obviously very easy, but Greg does a good job of kind of setting it up, letting the customer know what to expect, and then Greg can go ahead and just jump into the rental. So this next clip that we're going to play, we usually get this question at some point during the call. This one just happened to come a little bit earlier in the call, but the customer's just wondering, how do I get to your facility? So again, using the note page that we've built with you, Greg has this information, so he's able to kind of provide the directions, and I think you'll notice it sounds like Greg really has been there and knows where your facility is.
Now, where's your storage unit located at?
The facility is 1051 Banner Road. We're like on the parkway between Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg.
on the part between Pigeon Forge and Go. Oh, on the
Yeah, if you
spur.
go just past like the city sanitation department, if you know where that is.
Perfect. So you can see that Greg was able to use the address as well as some kind of landmarks, the city sanitation department, that really helps. Normally that information is good enough for the customers, and they say, oh yeah, I know where that is, I can find it. If not, our guys are trained to use Google Maps. They'll just pull it up, zoom in and see, where are you? Can you see the McDonald's or, whatever it is nearby? So, we can really direct them to the facility if they need that help. But for the most part, that information that you provide us is enough for the customer to say, oh yeah, I know right where that is. So Greg did a good job there of helping the customer realize where it was so that they could find the facility no problem. The next clip that we're going to play, Greg gives the move out requirements for the facility. Now at this point in the call, the customer has actually passed the phone to his son to finish the rental. So you'll hear kind of a different voice on the other side, but he's passed the phone to his son. And again, this question comes up whether the customer brings it up or whether we tell the customer what the move out requirements are. But again, every facility has different requirements, and so we'll go ahead and hear this clip and listen to what this facility has for their move out requirements.
Now, whenever time comes, which I guess once again will be a while, and we're ready to take everything out and close down the unit, is there like a notice I have to give or whatnot? Or do I just come in and say, hey, everything's out, it's good, or,
Yeah, we don't require like a specific timed notice. You would just need to be out before your next billing, which will be the first of the month every month for you.
Okay.
So as long as you were out before the first of the month, then you wouldn't owe anything else, and we could just move you out.
All right, sweet.
So as you can see, this facility, it doesn't require a specific move out notice. Some facilities require 10-day move out notice, some require 30-day move out notice. It doesn't matter to us taking your calls. As long as we know what you require, we can provide that information. So Greg was able to see off the note page what those requirements were and passed it along to the customer so that they were aware of what needed to happen when it was time for them to move out. So this next clip is really going to be Greg kind of finishing up the rental within the system. And so we're actually going to listen to 3 clips back to back. Just they're kind of shorter clips, but just give you an idea of some questions that we ask and really just getting that process started.
Did you guys want to set this up for auto pay to come off a card automatically every month?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And would that be a Visa, MasterCard, or Discover?
We'll get paid again on that month. That'll be February 4th.
Okay. Yeah, there is a 7-day grace period, so as long as it's paid off before the 7th, then you're totally fine. There wouldn't be like a late fee or anything.
All right, sweet.
So the only other thing you guys would need to do is just sign the lease agreement that I sent to you. Send it as both an email and as a text, so you can sign it through either way.
Okay, awesome. Is it like a link or something through the text? I may have just got it.
Yeah, it'll have a link in there, and you'll just click on that. It'll take you right to the lease, and then you just sign with an e-signature.
All right, sweet.
And do you want me to hang on the line while you do that, or do you just want to give me a call back when it's done?
Absolutely, yeah, I'll do it just right now, yeah. While I have you here, ain't no point in going through all that extra steps.
Right. Yeah, it should be one that's like titled storage agreement.
Yeah, I found it here.
So there was a lot of good stuff in those 3 clips. The first one, obviously offering to set up auto pay, which is good for you, good for the customer. That middle clip where Greg addresses the late fee policy, again, this is something that can be different for every single facility, but using your software and the notes that we have, we have that information specific here for your facility. So Greg's able to customize that portion of the call for this facility, which is really beneficial, and you can tell it sounds like Greg only answers calls for this facility. And then with the lease agreement, what I like is Greg mentions the lease agreement link is going to get sent to the customer either through text message or and email, and all he needs to do is click on the link and sign. Again, that's usually enough information for the customer to be able to sign it right there on the phone. But again, we're willing and able to help those that struggle a little bit more to figure out how to sign that lease agreement. We'll walk them through it and make sure that it actually gets signed before giving them the rest of the move-in information. So this last clip that we'll play is just kind of Greg wrapping everything up. So we'll go ahead and listen to that real quick.
So I do show that the lease is signed on my end as well, so you're good there. So you guys will be in unit number 1, and you can just go right over and put your own lock on it, and you're good to go.
All right, sweet.
Yeah. Anything else I can do for you?
So you can see there that Greg was able to verify. When we refresh our system, we can see that the lease has actually been signed. So Greg was able to see that, and then kind of give them the rest of the information that they needed, make sure that they didn't have any other questions, and kind of send them on their way. So hopefully those clips were helpful to you to see how we go from start to finish on a rental. In the middle there, obviously Greg was typing in all their information, their personal information, to create that account within the software. But hopefully that helps you to see how the calls kind of go and what it sounds like when we're actually processing a rental. So for this next call, we're going to listen to just a couple clips. It won't be as long as Greg's call, but I did want to highlight it because it's one of our callback calls that I spoke about in the first presentation. So I kind of mentioned we have this new-ish feature where if someone happens to call in and it's the busiest of days and someone doesn't want to wait for even 60 seconds to talk to an agent, they'll actually have the opportunity to keep their place in line and receive a call back as soon as it's their turn. So how that looks on our agent side is it kind of actually just looks like an incoming call. So the system handles it all automatically, keeps the place in line, but it'll pop up on our agent screen that says we're making an outbound call for this facility. And so the agent's able to talk to the customer and say, hey, this is so-and-so from this facility. You requested a call back. What can I do for you? So we'll go ahead and listen to this first clip, and this is kind of what it sounds like for the customer to receive that call back.
Hello?
Hi, this is Summer with I had a callback request for you.
Yes, I called yesterday to talk to a young lady. I'm not sure who I was talking to. And she gave me a quote on the smallest unit you have for $47. It's the one on Central Avenue. And I need to schedule this because I need that one.
So you can see that it wasn't confusing at all for the person on the other end of the line. I think when some people first hear about this feature, they say, well, is the person going to be expecting it? Does it sound weird? You can see that it was really seamless. The customer was waiting for the call, expecting it, and was able to jump right in and tell Summer what she needed. So this next clip, again, it goes over sizing, and we've talked about this before today, but it's really important because most customers that call in, they don't necessarily know what size they need. They just know what they have to store. And so this is kind of a good example, but we're able to ask them what they're storing, and then recommend a size that we believe will fit their items. And so we'll go ahead and play this first clip. The customer has told Summer that she wants the smallest unit available.
The smallest one is a 4x8, so it's pretty small. It's about the size of a closet.
A closet or a bedroom?
Not a bedroom. It's pretty small.
Are we talking a pretty good size closet though?
Like a smaller walk-in closet. Not too big. Like you could lay inside of it, but nothing much longer than that because it is 8 feet long, 4 feet wide.
That's not 8 feet long. That's sufficient because I just have boxes and lawnmowers and stuff. That's about it.
So that's a good example. I like that example because a lot of times we do have customers say, I want your smallest size because it's the cheapest. And so they just say, I want your smallest size and I'll jam everything in there. It sounds like this one actually was going to work, but Summer was able to kind of relate it to something that the customer might have been more familiar with. like the walk-in closet, a small walk-in closet. And so our agents are really good at likening the size to things that people are used to, like a single car garage, a 2-car garage, things like that, to really give them a visualization of how big the unit is, and then kind of help coach them into what size they really need. All right, so this last clip that we're going to listen to is Summer kind of jumping into the rental. She's going to go over some pricing. The deposit requirement, again, it's going to be different for every facility, but we can see if there's a deposit requirement, and then she's going to kind of jump in to start the rental.
So it is at $47 a month, but that's going to be due right now, and then we do prorate your second month. So on January 1st, it's going to be less than that 47, just because right now you're running on the 5th. And then there is also a $25 deposit that we'll charge.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
What is your first and last name?
So again, kind of a lot of things packed into those few short seconds, but Summer is able to go over the price, the deposit requirement, also mentions the prorating preference that the facility has set up, and kind of just letting the customer know what to expect when it comes time to pay in a couple minutes. And then you can hear her ask for her name, and that's where Summer will start to type in all the customer's information, create that profile, attach it to a unit, and then kind of go from there, like Greg was able to finish the rental. So hopefully between Summer's call and Greg's call, that gives you a little bit better of an idea of how our agents sound when they're taking your phone calls. Hopefully you can see that they're pretty personable. It doesn't sound like they're answering for a zillion different facilities. They're pretty knowledgeable for that specific facility, for those specific requirements that owner has set up with us. So I hope that helps for you to kind of listen and hear what the calls actually sound like. Again, if you have any questions at the end, I know that there's this form that you can fill out. Please let us know. We'll get back to you. If you have any more questions about the service or any of the specific aspects that we spoke about today, definitely fill out that form and let us know, and we'd love to hear from you. We also do have a promotion going right now that you may have heard about before, but if you sign up for this service and you mention this presentation or you mention this conference, then you will get the first month for free. So if you are interested, you reach out to our additional services team. They can kind of get you quotes and answer your questions on pricing and things like that. But definitely any questions that you have, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And thanks for joining.